Math 1332, Chapter 2, Set Theory, Section 4, Using Sets to Solve Problems, Video 2, another example involving two sets. Don't be intimidated by all of the words. Most of them don't matter. In fact, that's the secret to most word problems, is realizing that the majority of the words don't actually matter when you're figuring out an answer. All right, let's see what we got here. In a survey published by the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatologists, so far no useful information has been given. 500 people were asked by random telephone dialing. All right, let's highlight that for a second. And I'm going to bet that this is our universal set. So before we go any further, let's say that very thing, that the cardinality of the universal set is 500. All right, let's keep reading. 500 people were asked whether they had a tattoo and or a body piercing. So here comes our two sets. We'll say that T is the set of respondents who said they have a tattoo, and B is the set of respondents who said they have a body piercing. Of these, let's change colors, 79 reported having a tattoo only. All right, let's think about this, and maybe we should go ahead and draw a real quick Venn diagram, and I do mean real quick Venn diagram. There's that, and I'll just draw the rest by hand. Tattoo, body piercing, we'll just say B for body piercing. It wouldn't be wrong to say BP, it's just unnecessary to use two letters when you can avoid it. And for the sake of reference, regions 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. 79 reported having a tattoo only. I'm sorry, I didn't highlight the word only, and it's just that important. All right. In that Venn diagram, which region represents those that have tattoos only? That would be region 1, because if you have a tattoo only, you do not have a body piercing, meaning that we're looking for the region that is inside the T circle but outside the B circle. So what does this mean? Well, it means that we're about to be given the cardinality of region 1. Now, if you didn't notice that at the beginning, that's okay. But let's go ahead and write the set that we're being given the cardinality of. If they have a tattoo only, that means they have a tattoo, so T, and intersection, not a body piercing, meaning B complement. And we're told that that was equal to 79. So 79 said, I got a tattoo, but I don't have a body piercing. What about the next number? 31 reported having a piercing only. Well, kind of the same thing here. In the Venn diagram, which region represents body piercing only and not a tattoo? That would be region 3. Body piercing only and not a tattoo means inside the B circle, but outside the T circle, and that would be region 3. Now, how would that be written in terms of sets and intersections? Well, if they have a body piercing, then they're in set B and intersection. They don't have a tattoo, they're in T complement, and we're told that that is equal to 31. And let's see what else we're given. 151 reported having at least one of the two. All right. In the Venn diagram, which regions represent the people that have at least a tattoo or body piercing? Or possibly both, because they said at least one, so it could be more than that. So which regions represent they have a tattoo or a body piercing, or possibly both? Wait, I just said or. And in set theory, or translates to union. So they're telling us that the cardinality of T union B is 151. So this one's a little bit different because they're not telling us the cardinality of T or the cardinality of B. They're telling us cardinalities of other pieces of the Venn diagram. And although I said it, I didn't write it. So let's write it that the universe, of course, is all 4 regions, 1, 2, 3, and 4. tattoo but not a body piercing is region 1. Body piercing but not a tattoo is region 3. And then the union is regions 1, 2, and 3. So of the 4 numbers that they gave us, not one of them, but 2 of them represent a single region. That's a great start. If they give you a number that represents multiple regions, like the 151, I don't know what to do with it yet, because if 151 represents the cardinality of regions 1, 2, and 3, I don't know how to split up the 151 yet. But when they give you a cardinality that represents a single region, there's only one thing to do with it: put it in that region. So I think we can do all this on one page. I am going to try to erase the region numbers without getting rid of the text like you just saw. It's not impossible, it just takes a little bit of finesse. There we go. All right, so we're going to start by writing the cardinalities that represent a single region. Specifically, region 1 has a cardinality of 79. Here's the 79 people that have a tattoo but not a piercing. And there's 31 people that have a piercing, body piercing, but not a tattoo. Now that we're done with those, where should we go next to complete the Venn diagram? Then we'll answer the questions. Well, we know the union, the total of the 2 circles, has to add up to 151. So to figure out region 2 in the middle, if we take the 151, subtract the 79, and subtract the 31, that should give us what's left in the middle. Again, that's because this 151 represents the sum of these 3 regions' cardinalities, and we already know the cardinality of region 1 and region 3. So what does that equal to? Well, let's do it this way. Instead of subtracting them individually, let's add them and subtract them collectively. Because 79 plus 31 is 110. And if we subtract 110 from 151, we get 41, which means there are 41 people in the middle. Now at this point, I would check to make sure all my numbers are good. The 79 is good, it's tattoos but not piercings. The 31 is good, it's piercings but not tattoos. The 151 we could check by adding 79 plus 41 plus 31. Might as well do that real quick just to make sure I didn't make a mental math error. 151. But there's still a number we haven't used, the 500. The 500 represents the entire universe, which means all 4 numbers have to add up to 500. So to find the last piece, region 4, we can just take 500 and subtract the sum of the numbers that we already have. 79 plus 41 plus 31. But I already know what that equals. That equals 151. So 500 minus 151 is 349. Again, the trick to filling in the cardinalities in a Venn diagram is to figure out which cardinalities you're given, and specifically which given cardinalities represent a single region. You start there, and then you work your way backwards to figure out the cardinalities of the remaining regions. Now we can answer the questions being asked. We'll do that on the next page. All right, I've copied the Venn diagram and imported the question from the previous page. Use your diagram, got it, to find the percentage. Really? Can't just find the number, got to find the percentage? All right, I can handle this, and if you've forgotten how, I'll tell you how in just a moment. Find the percentage of respondents that have a tattoo, have a piercing, have both, and have neither. All right, so let's make sure we understand what we're being asked, and let's ignore the word percentage just for a second. Let's present it says cardinality. Cardinality of the respondents that have a tattoo. Cardinality of set T, excuse me. Cardinality of respondents that have a piercing. Cardinality of B. That have both. Cardinality of, okay, when they say both, that means tattoo and body piercing. And you see I accidentally stuck a P in there for body piercing. So if they have both, that means they belong to the intersection. and have neither. So not a tattoo and not a piercing. Now that we know what we're looking for, just look at the Venn diagram and add up the correct numbers or grab the correct numbers as necessary. For the cardinality of circle T, that means the sum of the numbers in circle T. That's 79 plus 41. That's 120. 120 of these people had a tattoo. The cardinality of B is 41 plus 31. 72 of these people had a body piercing. The cardinality of T intersect B, where in the picture is the intersection? That's region 2 in the middle, whose cardinality is 41. 41 of the people they talked to had both. How many had neither? And which number represents those who had neither? That's region 4, that's 341. So as a cardinality question, it's pretty easy. You just got to know which part of the Venn diagram to look at. But this asked percent. So how do you turn these numbers into a percent? Well, you have to know that there were 500 total. Percent means per 100, but really it's just a ratio, the part to the whole. So for example, let's take a look at the percent who had a tattoo. Percent who had a tattoo. There were, how many were there? 120 who had a tattoo. But that's 120 out of 500. Now you can write it as a fraction, but you probably know that all fractions are division problems. So how do you turn 120 out of 500 into a percent? First divide it, use the technology of your choice to get 0.24. And do you remember how to turn a decimal into a percent? Move the decimal place 2 places to the right. So if I move the decimal 2 places to the right, I would get 24%. The percent had a piercing. Well, how many had a piercing? I think it was 82 or 72. It was 72. Right here. 72 had a piercing out of 500. If we divide that, we get 0.144. So if we move the decimal 2 places to the right, we get 14.4%. What's the next question? Had a piercing and a tattoo, and there were 41. Percent who had a piercing and a tattoo. That was 41 out of 500. 41 divided by 500 is 0.082. So if we move the decimal 2 places to the right, we get 8.2%. Percent who had neither was at 394, 349, temporary dyslexia. 349. 349 of the 500 respondents had neither. And if we divide that, we get 0.698. And if we move the decimal 2 places to the right, we get 69.8%. So if this one threw you off because of the percent aspect of it, don't worry too terribly much. I'm more concerned about the cardinality aspect of it and how the regions in the Venn diagram all play out. I will tell you that when we get to the third unit that we study in this class, we do start with percents because that study is about financial math. That unit is about financial math.